What's going on, everybody? This is Stephen J. Gaither from HBCU Game Day. Wanted to make sure that we have you guys in. We have a very special guest for today, so make sure that you guys, if you're not, subscribe to the channel, and then make sure that you guys hit those notifications so you don't miss any interviews like this or any others. But we have a great treat for you guys in today, and that is the head coach of Tuskegee women's basketball, the SIAC champion, and now getting ready to compete at the NCAA tournament. Coach Powell, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
Right, right.
It's nothing like, getting prepared to go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, big time accomplishment, and we'll talk about that a little bit. I know you guys are the AFC a little upset about that. After winning 26 games, winning the SIAC championship, I know I was appalled to see you guys so low, but we'll get into that. But first off, just talk about climbing this mountain and becoming the SIAC champion.
Oh, and it has been a mountain. Any chance I get, I definitely tell people, especially in the press, like, outside looking in, it looks like it was a perfect season. Everything went our way. But we had a lot of ups and downs on our team. Many different people, we played, I want to say 6 games without our point guard this year. And we just found a way, upperclassmen, the experience, and Jatoria Willis, and then our other point guard taking on that role, and them handling it, while she was out. I think we lost one game during that time, which was to Clayton State, a really good program. So we've been through some things this season, and I think it's a testament to this program. Like I said, the experience, our upperclassmen who found a way to get it done.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and just talk about it a little bit. So now refresh me if I'm wrong. You came in 2018, 2019.
Yes.
All right, gotcha. So when you came into the program had been struggling for quite some bit, and you got the task of rebuilding the program. Just talk about taking on the job, what it was like for you in those early days, pre-pandemic, as you were trying to build Tuskegee. Obviously, they have a great reputation in athletics, but just trying to build Tuskegee women's basketball to where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody stepping into a position where they're tasked with rebuilding the program, I feel like that's where the most pressure is. Um, so I think my success came from me not wanting to fail and not wanting to let down my then AD, Willie Slater, who gave me this opportunity. Just working my butt off and making sure that I had the right person in position for an assistant coach, because we only had one assistant position. So I needed somebody that was willing to work hard and kind of would be on the same page with me and rebuilding this program. So, yeah, I just think coming in with the mindset of we cannot fail, we cannot let our administration down, we can't fail this program and these student athletes. So it was amazing to see the turnaround, to have one of the biggest NCAA turnarounds in history. The year before, they had only won 6 games, and then we went from 6 to 20 in my first season. So I definitely did not expect that. But we just added a few key pieces, and I always go back to those 3 young women who were my first signees when I got to Tuskegee.
Yeah, and you talk about the coming in and having that immediate impact. When you come in, prior to the 18-19 season, you guys are in the championship game by the end of the 2020 season. Just talk about that season. Obviously, that's right before COVID. Um, and just building that program and where felt you guys were before the world stopped, and basketball had to come to a standstill in the middle of March when folks were getting ready to really hopefully make some national championship runs.
Yeah, that season, people always ask me, is this your best team? Or what about when y'all made it, to the championship game before? And I feel like by far, this is my most skilled team. But that team then in that last championship game, I feel like we kind of were missing some intangibles that we hadn't quite grasped yet. I don't feel like those kids had enough time here in the program. The three kids that we brought in, one was she only had 1 year to play, and then the other two were JUCO transfers. So we didn't bring any high school kids in that year. But going into that tournament, we only had two of those JUCO transfers that were still here. So I just feel like, they just didn't have enough time to kind of garner everything that they needed, the intangible part, to win that championship. And so moving forward, I feel like we got that time, especially, COVID. It kind of hampered us a little bit because our conference didn't have a conference tournament. And I felt like we had just started like getting those things that we needed in order to get over the hump, but it kind of set us back a little bit.
Head coach Trelanne Powell from Tuskegee University. Again, they are the current SIAC basketball champions on the women's side, getting ready to take on Tampa in the NCAA South Regional. You talk about that 2021. You guys did play 14 games, 12-2 record, so a really great record there. And you come into last season, 21-22. You guys, you guys were continuing to grow as a program. You're 22-5, you guys are building, you're rolling, and then you get to the SIAC tournament in South Carolina, and things kind of go awry. You run into a Benedict team that I believe ended up winning the championship. No, they didn't win. They ended up competing for the championship. And just talk about that. I mean, to win that many games. Obviously you want to win the title, but did you think last year that the at-large bid was coming, or what was your mindset? Because that's kind of always really interesting at the Division II level.
Yeah, I mean, you think that with the position that you're in, you feel like it's deserving. But looking at how they, I'll say judge and rank us based on the criteria. Sometimes the ball doesn't roll our way. But definitely last year's team, we have everybody back except for one senior that graduated. And I think with last year's team, we had a lot of personal growing to do within the team. And, we had to kind of come together and realize, okay, in order for us to have the ultimate success and reach the goal of winning this conference tournament, like we got to be able to sacrifice some things and put some egos to the side. So I think there was a lot of growth that happened within the team since that last season. And I mean, no doubt about it, we faced a really, really, really good Benedict team. Like, man, they lost, basically 6 starters. There are 5 starters, and then one, the first that came off the bench that could start any night. So last year's tournament was a lot tougher, I feel like. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like our team grew a lot since then.
We talk about, and then we'll talk to, about this year's team. Talk to me about Miss Jackson. What she brings to your program, how you got her, and then talk to me about Miss Willis as well. How you got these talented young ladies to come into your program, buy into what you guys are doing, and help you guys continue to build.
Yeah, so Shyla was actually here when I got the job. She was coming off of her freshman year ACL injury, so she did not play as a freshman. She was coming back, trying to get back to the floor. She had worked her butt off to get back to the court her sophomore year. And to start our season, I want to say our first or second game of the season, she re-injured herself and tore ACL again. So she was out for a second year with that injury. So there's no doubt that, if we had a Shyla, we could have had more success in that first season. But she still wouldn't be here now if that had not have happened. So I just feel like everything was meant to happen, with her going through both of those injuries and her resilience and just her drive to get back to the court, I mean, it just speaks to what kind of player she is. Like, she's a gym rat. So she does bring a type of work ethic to this program that other kids can look up to. And, she's just really hard to guard in the post. She's worked on her jump shot. And, we kind of try to tell her, like, we know you can shoot it, but, we know you can do other things too. But yeah, she's going to go out and she's going to score. She's going to rebound for us. So she just brings a lot to our post. She helps open up the floor. So we were definitely blessed to have a Shyla here and for her to develop the way that she has over the years.
Yeah. And then also talk about Miss Willis as well.
Yeah. So Jatoria, going back to the 3 kids that we signed when I first arrived at Tuskegee, if we don't sign the Alexis Carters, we don't get Jatoria Willis. She's a Division I transfer from Jacksonville. Even when she transferred from Jacksonville, she had offers to go still play at the Division I level. But she chose to come to a HBCU because she wanted something different. And I'm so happy that she chose to be a part of this program, chose to come and be a change maker here, because she made an immediate impact, and we knew that she would. The moment that she told us about her decision, we just knew the sky was the limit. Having somebody like that on your team, somebody who is a high academic kid who is just getting it done on the court as well as in the classroom. But she is our motor. She is definitely our motor. Our defense starts and ends with her. So, I mean, trying to think about how do you replace her is like, you gotta recruit 3 kids. So she's just been amazing for this program, and hopefully moving forward, again, the same reason, we were able to get her. She's going to help us continue to recruit and get those same type of caliber kids.
Yeah, no doubt. And so then, you look at this team here, again, you guys win 26 games, and just talk about, for people who don't understand the Division II scheduling, because it's, you guys play in a conference that has a lot of teams. So there's not a lot of chances for out of conference games. How tough is it for you guys to be able to schedule in the non-conference some of those really talented teams? I imagine if it's anything like it is up here in Region 1 for CIAA, the really talented teams have a hard time getting good teams to play them, or if they do play them, they want to play them in their gym. What's been your experience with that as you guys, try to, because obviously, the dominance you had in the SIAC, as great as it's been, you just had it for whatever reason, it didn't translate into a seed. So, kind of what's been your experience on that end and moving forward?
Yeah, that it's definitely tough to sit on regional advisory committee meetings and listen to people talk about how your strength of schedule is not good enough, and us trying to figure out who we can play, in those non-conference games, because it's like, okay, we're making our schedules now for next year based on who do we think will be okay. But I don't know what that program is recruiting. I don't know what they're, you can look at the roster and see what they should be bringing back, but you don't know the ins and outs of everything that's going on in that program. You don't know, if it's going to be a coaching change. So it's all of these things. And like you said, it's only a handful of games that you can schedule. So it's very tough. And it's like, okay, so you want me to play the toughest teams in our region, but I'm also tasked with winning those games. So it's like, you darned if you do and darned if you don't. So, we try to play those non-conference games. We want them to be winnable. But we also want that team to also have success in their conference. So it's hard. It's very hard to sit down and try to think about who should we ask to play us. And then, like you said, some schools that are like right under the 2 and 3, they don't want to play us, because then for them, it's like, is that a winnable game for us? So it's tough. We basically, have to be like our men's team and just go play the top teams in both conferences and see, if we win or not.
And why do you think it is, in your experience? 'Cause I know you played at Columbus State, correct, which is
Mhm.
another Division II school. Why do you think it is that the SIC doesn't get the respect that a lot of people think that it deserves on the women's side? And obviously, you guys are going on a run, even though it's kind of they're going to make it for you as hard for you as they can, clearly. But
Absolutely.
just talk about the SIC as a women's basketball league and why it deserves maybe more respect than it actually gets.
I just think it deserves more respect. Number one, for these student athletes, like, these kids day in and day out bust their butts the same way that any other kid in any other conference or region. So that's my main thing, for one, because I just feel like we're taking away from those kids. But what we're being told is your conference has to overall compete and do better. So, as coaches in our conference, we're constantly trying to figure out, like, what can we do? How can we schedule so that, our strength of schedule across the board for our conference is represented better and looks better, to those NCAA numbers and those criteria. So, it's just an uphill battle, and we feel like, some things should be changed. Like, there should be some definite criteria, because it's very vague. There's no definitive, okay, this is who should be here, because it's always, well, it's opinionated, and then, once we talk about it and it goes to somebody else and then they talk about it, and so it's just like, I just wish there were some
It's
definitive.
very
uh,
abstract, very
yes,
very
very
abstract.
abstract. I just wish there was like a definitive criteria that we know that, okay, these are the boxes that we have to check in order to get here. And I just think it's really unfair to our kids who are conference champions, and we are ranked behind people who had to receive an at large bid in the regional. But I just feel like fair is fair, but a lot of people will say, well, it's fair playing the tougher opponent. So I get it. There's two sides to it. All we can do is make the best of the opportunity that we have. And what I'm going to tell my kids is, no matter what, Tampa is the number one team. If we want to win this region, we got to go through them anyway, or through the people that beat them. So I just want to kind of, find the positive in it, even though, every year we feel the same way. It's just like, man, what can we do? So I guess, like I said, the only thing for us to do is to go out like our men, and play like the top teams in both conferences, and see where the cards fall.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate that you guys have to deal with all that, but that kind of, you can save that for me, for guys like me to beat up on the NCAA, because I think, even though in D2 you do get some HBCUs and do get an at-large bid, it definitely seems like those metrics are definitely hard to catch. Won't keep you too much longer, because I know you guys have to get on the bus to go. Well, you guys have to go and travel to play Tampa. You know, when you look back at this season, what will be your biggest takeaway? And then obviously, looking forward to Tampa. Just talk to us about, what you guys are looking. What should we expect of the Tuskegee program in this game, and then moving forward?
The biggest takeaway, that I want my kids to understand and see, is that, the importance of the leadership, that upperclassman leadership, man, it has to show up. And I think it did, in this tournament. Again, just the hunger and the drive of those upperclassmen that felt that loss last season and came back, for the simple fact that they knew that it was something, that was already here, but we just didn't have enough. So I just want them to see that and understand, because, we preach that all year. We have to have that upperclassman leadership. You got to be willing to sacrifice some stuff, and it's not just going to be given to you. Got to work for it. So that's the biggest thing that I want my kids to understand, those that are returning, so that they have that mindset and that they lead. Not even like the kids that are here now, but just be better, and let's make it better every year. So that's my thing.
Yeah, Coach. Wishing you guys the very best. You guys have become one of the most consistent programs in HBCU basketball, as well as Division II basketball, winning 20 plus games consistently. I think if my calculations are correct, over the last 3 years, you guys have only lost a total of 10 games, or I'm actually, I may be giving you a couple losses. So, consistently single digit losses, and competing highly where you are. So, Coach, want to wish you and your team great luck heading out to Tampa. We'll be rooting for you. Again, how can folks follow you and support the Tuskegee University women's basketball program?
Definitely, Tuskegee women's basketball is on Instagram, Tuskegee_WBB, as well as on Twitter. And the same for me on Instagram is Trelanne.mp. And then Trelanne_MP on Twitter. So
again, she is 2023 Women SIAC Women's Head Coach of the Year, Trelanne Powell. Her program is the Tuskegee University Golden Tigers, and they will be taking on Tampa University on March 11th. March 11th?
On the 10th. We play on Friday.
March 10th. March 10th. Make sure you check the listings. We'll have it on hbcugameday.com. Coach, I want to thank you so much for coming to join us today. And I would look forward to speaking with you after you make this NCAA tournament run.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.